Hello and welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room for a Transfer Central / match preview. Today we're joined by Kris, Drew, and Jay. How are you doing? I'll start with you. We'll start with you, Jay.
All good, mate. Yeah, looking forward to the match tomorrow.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I've got the stream in the background, so it's just come off me. Drew, how are you doing?
Doing fine. Like Jay, looking forward to the match tomorrow. Hoping for 3 points, however it comes.
Yeah, and Kris, you're scranning down on your dinner there.
Yeah, I do apologise to everybody. I know it's rude. It's just the life that I'm currently leading. So I really apologise. Although it's just a toasty, not glamorous.
Gotta get that food down, yeah. But yeah, so we'll gonna be a bit of a shortish one today. Gonna start off with the main transfer rumor that has been, that's been brought up in the past few days regarding Mohamed Salah. Obviously he was linked a couple of days ago with a move to Barcelona. Xavi wants him. They're willing to go all in, and apparently Barcelona are backing him. A bit of conflicting stories because today Fabrizio Romano said that he's not actually looking to move, and if he was looking to leave, it'd be at the end of his contract for free. So yeah, I mean, Jay, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think he's gonna go?
If he does, I think it'd be a sale. I don't think it'll be the end of his contract, just because the sheer amount of money you'd make off him. Letting Wijnaldum go on a free in Emre Can on a free are very different to letting Mo Salah go on a free, because you're talking about £100 million player. So I think if he goes, it'll be a transfer, not at the end of his contract.
I mean, Drew, how would you feel about him going to Barcelona? Obviously, known for stealing some of our best players. Obviously, they'll give us a pretty penny over the year, so we can't complain too much. But do you think that that'd be the right move for Salah if he was to go to Barca?
Depends. Like, I'm assuming he'd hit the ground running and do well in any team that he joined. So it wouldn't give Barca fans any reason to dislike him, but they can be pretty finicky supporters, as we've seen with the likes of Coutinho and other signings that have gone there. So I don't know if he'll get the same type of love if he goes to a place like Barcelona, but to be fair, I don't think you're going to find the love of Liverpool supporters at any other club. So be right for him maybe in terms of a footballing move. He gets that high profile, club that tend to be the ones that Ballon d'Or look at, but it really depends on what he wants. Does he want a legacy, or does he want to just be that kind of mercenary, did it, wherever he went kind of player?
Yeah, I mean, Kris, it is a bit of a, he's going to get more money at Barcelona if he does go there. Obviously, that's sort of the issue at the moment, like the whole contract thing, something that we have discussed endless amount of times on the channel over the past few months. So do you think it's a bit of a bullshit rumor, or do you think there's any legs to it? I mean, his agent's been yapping on Twitter recently, so it's it's a bit of a tricky one to predict.
Yeah, personally, living in Spain and knowing the Barcelona finances quite well, Barcelona can't afford him. It's that they cannot afford him. I think they've just leveraged the club, which basically means that they've taken a loan out against the club, which, considering it's sort of a 50-50 socio deal, they just can't afford him. That's why they got Aubameyang for a free. That's why the rumours of Haaland have recently been completely said to be bullshit. Real Madrid could do something like that if they didn't get Mbappe, for example. That could happen because they tried to bid 171 million in the summer for Mbappe. So that could be if Mbappe re-signed with PSG for another year, for example, that could be the route the Real appease their egos with. But he's not going to Barcelona. I think he might go to Paris if Mbappe goes to Madrid. That could happen, but who knows? Who knows?
Haven't Barca, aren't they in the midst of talking about a Spotify deal, about naming, the getting like a bunch of money for the new camp being named Spotify New Camp or something?
Yeah, but the socios are bang against it. The socios are bang against it, and that does hold quite a bit of weight in places like Barcelona. You got to remember that Barcelona is actually more than, well, it's in their logo more than just a club, but it's actually a symbol for the sort of independence of Catalonia. So if you start naming your symbol for independence and a political movement Spotify, it sort of detracts away from it in a way. So it's quite complicated. It's quite complicated.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been linked with a lot of wingers, to say the least. We were linked with Luis Diaz. We ended up signing him. But even though we have signed him, it sort of seems like we are still being linked with more wingers. Jay, one player who has come up is Raphinha. Fabrizio Romano once again confirming that Liverpool are interested in them. But would you take him? Leeds are in a bit of a tricky situation at the moment. If they go down, they're going to have a lot of clubs going for them. So hopefully, if they stay up, then they might cash in. Seeing that a future relegation is on the cards again.
I'm a fan of Raphinha, but if no one goes, I don't think we need him. Where's he get into the team with Diaz, Jota, Salah, Mane, Firmino? I don't see where he'd play. So unless someone's leaving, I don't see any, not even Bowen either, because I know he's linked quite a lot. I don't see us getting a forward. I think I'd rather go for Gallagher in the middle. I think he's tailor-made for us.
I mean, do you not think though we've seen it, obviously, players have come in and, like the likes of Jota, the likes of Diaz, they've come in as not maybe a first choice player. They're all very much in the same mold too, 24-year-olds, not at top clubs, but sort of a step or two down. They've come in happy to be a backup on pretty reasonable wages. And, they have challenged the likes of, maybe not Salah, but, they've challenged Firmino, they've challenged Mane, and, that's up, especially Mane has upped his game especially since Diaz has come in, Drew. So do you think maybe if we was to bring Raphinha in, he could be another option? Maybe Divock Origi leaves. That has been obviously rumoured in last season, and it looks like he's on his way to Serie A. So if Origi leaves, let's not think of the front three at the moment, but if one of our backup was to leave, do you think Raphinha would be a good option?
I don't see that happening along the lines of Jay. I don't think he's of the caliber of player to where he'd be replacing someone like Divock Origi. I think he's, better quality than that. And, anyone who'd get relegated into the Divock Origi position would ultimately not be happy with that. You're talking about Firmino, Mane, Salah, Jota, and Diaz in that equation. So if one of them would have to be bumped down to the Divock Origi position, or Raphinha would be in that Divock Origi position of fifth, sixth choice, in the front line. So I don't see that being the right move for his career development wise, unless somebody was moving out of the club. I'd much rather see a younger player get the chance to fill into that spot and see what they can do. It just seems like it's not the right timing for Raphinha at the moment, but who knows? We'll see if Salah stays, if Mane stays, if Firmino stays. If a spot like that opens up, then I'd say it'd be easier to give the Raphinha rumors credence.
Yeah, I mean, Kris, it's when we were linked to Luis Diaz, we were linked to the likes of Jarrett Bowen, Harvey Barnes, and since then, and he's come out as another one, and Raphinha was in that pile of players. My only issue with the whole thing is, if Leeds do get relegated, there's going to be so many clubs trying to sign him, and obviously Barcelona were also linked in there. Just on like the Spanish side, I know we go to you on this a lot, but would he be a perfect Barcelona signing over the likes of Liverpool? Is it more likely that he moves to the new camp than Anfield, maybe?
Well, normally I'd say yes, but the problem I think that the Barcelona links is that Barcelona are basically trying to now groom the next generation of players. So they're trying to bring through the Gavis, the Pedris, people like this. They're going back to what used to be everybody's idea of Barcelona. And I think The problem with signing Raphinha for a Liverpool or a Barcelona is that it actually might block the ability to bring somebody through, a younger player. So if you sign Raphinha, Gordon's not getting the minutes that keeps him happy, that keeps him at the club for a while. And that might be the same case with Raphinha. They've just got Traore, Barcelona. So is Raphinha going to work in there? I don't actually know, but I can't see it happening because of that. I see Raphinha perhaps going to someone like a Borussia Dortmund, perhaps. I think he'd slot in really well in a club like that. Or even a club like Manchester United. I think he'd do a great job somewhere like that. The reason I say that is because when Manchester United actually get real and understand that, you know, they need to get rid of half of their players just because of attitude alone, then someone like Raphinha, who's a real workhorse and came through the Bielsa system, would suit a lot of their ideals moving forward, especially Ralph Rangnick's pressing system, which obviously Bielsa is a godfather of.
Yeah, I mean, just really quickly before we sort of continue this, if you are in the chat, make sure you leave a like, you know, subscribe to the channel for future streams and content. Also, get your comments in, we'll read them out. Hello to everyone who's joined us. We're just in a conversation, but I mean, one thing I wanted to, you know, take to all of you. Let's say Leeds do get relegated. Hopefully it doesn't happen because it means Everton might get relegated. You know, if Leeds do get relegated, he's available for 20 million. I think it was like 20, 30 million. It was reported that Leeds were looking for about 50 to 60 million. So, you know, 20 to 30 million. He wants to play in the Premier League still. He's happy with, you know, limited minutes just to play under Jurgen Klopp and in Liverpool. Would you take him, Jay? I mean, it seems like a bit of a no-brainer, but is it maybe just wait, you know, as Jay said, is it sort of, not Jay, sorry, as Kris said, is this sort of stopping the progression of players like Gordon and people like that?
It's not that I'm worried about, because I don't see Gordon breaking into the team properly next season. I imagine he'll end up with a loan anyway. And yeah, 20 million is a steal for Raphinha. But I think the thing you've got to ask yourself is, if he's happy to have the Divock Origi role, what does that say about him? He's happy to just sit there and get the odd League Cup game, the odd Champions League game when you've qualified. So if he was happy to come in to play fifth, sixth fiddle, it's not the type of player I really want at Liverpool anyway, to be honest. But I do like him as a player. I do like him. It's mad. I'd never normally say, let's not sign a player, but I just don't think we need him. Don't get me wrong. Like I said before, if we sell Firmino, Mane, or any one of them that actually get a game, then yeah, by all means, I'd go all out for it for 20 mil. But failing that, I just think it's another player that's not going to get minutes.
I mean, Drew, you're nodding your head there. Do you agree with Jay?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to, are we happy with what we have now? I am. So when I see the rumors, I'm like, I'd rather see something like Jay mentioned earlier, like a Conor Gallagher in. Like, if we're going to spend some money on someone, let's put it in a position that, you know, we don't already have 5 of the best, you know, players in the world in. So I think it comes down to that, because at the end of the day, yeah, Raphinha is a great player, would be an exciting signing, but I don't see him above the likes of any of our front 5 at the moment. And, you know, maybe that changes. Maybe someone's form drops. Maybe someone leaves. But I think it just comes down to, are we happy with the selection we have up top right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all sort of in agreement, you know, maybe if Firmino or Mane were to be sold or leave at the end of the season, then, you know, it might be worth bringing him in, because he's going to be playing a lot more. But, you know, as mentioned, Conor Gallagher, similar position, not really, but someone who we have been linked with by extremely reliable Spanish journalist, FF Polo. I think his name's Fernando Polo. I forgot what his first name is. But Barcelona, really reliable. He's actually said the talks between Barcelona and Gavi have completely at a standstill at the moment, and Liverpool, who've been linked with him in the past, are keeping an eye on the situation, hoping that he'd to lure him to Anfield when his contract ends at the end of 2023. I mean, Kris, you probably know more about this guy than all of us. Barcelona fans absolutely rave about him. He's meant to be the next big player along with Pedri. Do you see him leaving? And if you do you think he'd be a perfect player for Jurgen Klopp?
Well, let's remember that not 6 months ago, or maybe a little bit more than 6 months ago, we were talking about Pedri doing exactly the same thing. And he did exactly the same tactic where basically he said, I'm not signing. And then Barcelona went, please sign. And he went, I'm not signing. And then he went, okay. This type of negotiation is really common in Spain. It's really, really common because especially a young player who's coming through the ranks, who's been invested by the club, and the club think potentially if they were to sell him in 3 or 4 years, they could make 100 million. That's what they're thinking. It's worth giving him the bumper deal now. I don't think that Spanish players export as well as they used to either, which is a really interesting thing that might be a bit controversial. And I think that we really need to be looking at the options of players who would choose us as the first option, not necessarily a second option. That's why I think Gallagher is a really fantastic shout, because if you could get him, the idea is he'd want to be at Liverpool, and then you could go from there. I don't know how it works with Chelsea, for example. I'm not quite sure about that because he's on loan of him. Am I wrong?
Yeah,
he's
on loan.
He's at Chelsea.
Yeah.
So if we can just gain anything from a war between two countries, then Gallagher might be it.
I mean, let's just go on to
that was a joke, by the way. I'm not pro-war. Just in case anyone's going to accuse me of being mad. Right, okay. Sorry.
That's just distance from the war.
Yeah.
Our colours mean nothing on this stream. They're just general colours. But, I mean, we've talked about him a lot, Drew. It seems like Liverpool fans are raving about Conor Gallagher. He has had a great season this year. He was at West Brom last year, I think, or the year before when he got relegated. Didn't really hit it off, but, he's playing at the time, he was playing under very negative managers. Patrick Vieira sort of coming to the Premier League. He's sort of, he's redefined Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace side and really given them a bit of a tactical nuance, you could say. And Conor Gallagher, he's thriving in that position. He probably should have, at least got an assist last night to get Crystal Palace all 3 points in the dying seconds. And in the 90th minute, he's sprinting down to goalkeeper. I mean, is he a perfect Klopp player? It's unlikely, as it's Chelsea, they're unlikely to strengthen a rival and their fans love him as well. But would he be a great midfield option for this Liverpool side?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the perfect Klopp player. Question. I think he is the perfect Klopp player. I think it's hard to watch him and not be excited about the prospect of him being in the team. I mean, he offers everything that you'd want in a midfielder. He's technically good. He's got a lot of energy, and he gets goals and assists. It's the perfect combination for someone you'd want in the midfield. And I think the fact that he is that talented and he puts that much energy into his game is just the icing on the cake. Like he doesn't kick back on his ability. He puts in the hard work. I think he ran 12.5 kilometers.
Wow.
Yesterday's game. Like it was insane to see that much effort and energy put into a match like that. And that's everything that you'd want to see at Liverpool. And as we've seen, that's something Klopp, he's definitely at least paid attention to it, or noticed it. Whether or not Conor Gallagher ends up at Liverpool, we'll see. But it's still definitely a player that would be perfect for the club.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you've mentioned Conor Gallagher a few times. It seems like you want him at Liverpool, if anything does happen with him. He's got 8 goals, 5 assists in all competitions for Crystal Palace this season, probably being their best player. I think most Crystal Palace fans would agree that. But do you see us really getting, managing to convince Chelsea to sell him to us? I mean, we did it with Dominic Solanke a few years ago. Didn't really work out, but he's maybe not on the same level as Gallagher is now.
In honesty, no. Obviously, Chelsea are in a very uncertain period. And looking at it from a Chelsea point of view, aside from what happens with this Abramovich stuff, why would you want to let him go? They've done it so many times. De Bruyne, Lukaku, Salah, Matty, who they ended up signing back. They're probably thinking this time, do you know what? Let's not watch him be world class somewhere else. Because I've been majorly impressed with him. It's not even just his game, it's his maturity. If you actually hear the kid speak, he's a class act. He reminds me of Harvey Elliott in a way, the way he conducts himself. It's not only his football that you love, it's the kid himself. So I'd love him. But I don't think Chelsea is stupid enough to let him go to Liverpool. And if they are, great. But I don't see it personally.
Yeah, I mean, we can hope, but I mean, saying that, Kris, they do have a lot of talent coming through at the moment. But yeah, I think that's how you say his name is Southampton. Doing amazing for them. I think they sold Livramento to Southampton, and he's doing amazing, being linked with other clubs. I'm trying to think of more loan players, but I feel like they've got loads that.
Does he have a buyback? Does he have a buyback, Livramento?
I think he does. Yeah. I think
so he's basically just a minute away from.
Well, I mean, they could sell him now if they wanted to and get a nice profit on. Chelsea can't really do much about it. But I mean,
that's true.
Yeah. So it's Chelsea. I forgot what my original question was. But hey ho, Chelsea. They've got good players. Let's sign them all if their club does go into liquidation, which we're all hoping for. But I mean, let's move on to a bit of a preview on tomorrow's game against Arsenal. Massive game after Crystal Palace drew with City 0-0. We've got a chance to go within 1 point of them, still having to play at the Etihad. Doesn't really change much, Jay, in the terms of the point difference. We still have to beat them at the Etihad to really put an actual dent into them. But it doesn't mean we can drop points without really bowing out of the title race. So, I mean, is this a bit of a season-defining game? Is it the momentum carry of this game? If we do win it, can you just see us going on a run and no one's going to stop us?
I think it's a massive momentum run because Arsenal are one of the informed teams. So beating Arsenal at their place gives everyone a lift because you haven't just beat a mediocre team, you beat one of the best teams in the league right now. And the other thing to bear in mind is if we do beat Arsenal and beat Watford, we go top of the league, albeit for a couple of hours. But City aren't used to that pressure of chasing top of the league, chasing points. So it'll be interesting to see if they drop points on the day that we play Watford. I think City have got Villa. I'm not 100%. Oh no, sorry, they've got Burnley. But Burnley are fighting for points as well. It's a horrible game, Burnley. So it's just as important as it was anyway. We have to win it. But I think in terms of a morale boost, beating Arsenal at their place, it's got to do wonders for your confidence, as I've thought.
Yeah, I mean, we've been flying at Arsenal recently, Drew. But saying that, as Jay said there, they're on a 5-game win streak at the moment. Liverpool are on an 8-game win streak. They haven't beat teams that are going to roll over either. They beat Leicester 2-0. They beat Wolves, who were competing for a top 4 place. Watford in a relegation fight, and Brentford as well at the time. We're in a bit of a relegation battle as well. So it's not easy games. Is this going to be a cut and dry game for Liverpool, or do you think they are going to struggle against Arteta's team?
I think we're going to have to work for it, definitely. It's not going to be, I don't see it being like a game where we roll up and win 4-0 like we've had in previous games. But that being said, I agree with they haven't been playing like nobodies or players or teams on the beach. I don't think they haven't played heavyweights. Like, it kind of reminds me of like a boxer coming through the rings. Like, they haven't fight the title contenders yet. They've been scrapping their way through, winning crucial games. But every time they've played a big gun this season, they've gotten knocked out. They've lost to City, they've lost to Tottenham in the league, they've lost to Manchester United. They got smashed by us. Like, they haven't beaten that big club in the league this season. And I think we were all worried when we came up against them in the semifinals of the League Cup, especially after we didn't get the result at home in the first leg. without Salah and Mane, it was like, could we actually do it at the Emirates when they have their full squad? And we beat them essentially with a weaker squad, and we did it. We didn't wipe the floor with them, but we did it pretty convincingly, given who was in the lineup. So I think that being said, coming to the Emirates with a fuller deck, while they are flying, they were again for that second leg against us in the League Cup, and we still got the job done. So I think we'll get the job done. I don't think it will be a massacre like it has been in previous games, but I think it's more about just consistency, get the win however possible, and keep that momentum going of getting wins no matter what.
I mean, so Kris, Arteta is really, when he started off at Arsenal, it's a very similar story to Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, it seems. We come in, a club in absolute disarray. They didn't have a good team. Their finances, weren't the best. And it's fair to say he's had some stick for his play style. But now it's starting to seem like he's really clicked with the team. He's got the players out who he didn't want. Ozil, Aubameyang, there's still a couple of misfits in there, but he's starting to get that team that he wants. Is he going to be a threat in the future? I mean, he's challenging for top 4 now. If he gets this team in the backing from the owners, could it be a Liverpool V2 we're seeing?
I'd actually take it on a different route and say we're looking at a Manchester City version too, and I think that's really interesting for why the game is going to benefit Liverpool a lot. It's because playing City's system is very much like playing Arsenal's system at the moment. They're playing a sort of front 5 with 2 floating attacking midfielders. And these 2 attacking midfielders are roaming gates, and they play sort of Marcellus as well. That means that the attacking midfielder comes a little bit wider, and then the winger comes inverted. But basically, that's going to be the perfect practice for Liverpool. And City don't have that opportunity of playing someone who's very similar to us, which is fantastic. Now, will Arsenal ever be a real challenger? I think that this might be, I know it's a transfer central, so this is play into the crowd, but I'd say we're only a real challenger because we've made fantastic signings. You can only do so much as a manager with Dejan Lovren. And there is a point at which you've just got to understand the limit. And the same could be said with Emre Can or etc. So I think that if Arsenal were to go out and get themselves an amazing signing, amazing scouting team, fantastic analysts, world-class people are getting the best in the world, and yeah, they could really be a problem in the future. Is that likely? Don't know. They signed Thomas Partey and put him on more money than Mo Salah. They've signed many players over the years that I've just shook my head about. They're still really loving Xhaka, even though he's an explosion every game waiting to happen. He's mad. He's mad. And then
Jay, he's
an absolute liability, and when he's tactically good, he is a good player, but in a big game, his head can go. And then, they spent 60 million on White, was it? Oh, Atletico.
I seen that before. That's what I was smiling at.
I thought you were just liking what I said. Jesus. So yeah, I think to be honest, Arsenal being good in the league is more beneficial to Liverpool, if anything else, because it gives us practice actually. And as someone in the coaching world, when you've got to play Burnley one week and you've got to play Man City the next, I can only imagine how much you've got to change things week to week just to get your players to understand the different challenges. So when you've got Arsenal and then soon after Man City, it's a huge benefit, honestly. It's everything Liverpool want, because you just do the same drills again. And then obviously practice makes perfect.
I mean, you mentioned White there, some questionable transfers to say the least. But I fought tooth and nail on our season prediction for Arsenal to be in the top six. I didn't think that they'd be this well. I don't think anybody did. But I thought Ramsdale was a great signing. I think he's probably England's best goalkeeper on his day. Maybe he's a bit too theatrical. He's very much like De Gea, likes to jump around. Where we're used to Alisson, where he just catches them type of things. But his distribution's good. He's a good shot stopper.
It's not faint praise though. It's not faint praise.
Hollywood saves.
Saying he's England's best goalkeeper is like saying I'm the best chef.
Yeah,
like I'm shite. I couldn't cook an egg.
You toasted.
Oh, mate. Honestly, missus did them.
I mean, you say that, but he's got to. He can't. It's not like England can have Alisson. He's got to beat what's in front of him, and unfortunately for him, it's Jordan Pickford. Well, fortunately maybe, but it's not his fault that he is better than Jordan Pickford by a country mile. I mean. Yeah. But I think he was a great signing. I think it was a 30 million they signed him for, maybe a bit too much, but you've got the English tax on it. Ben White, a very similar story, 50 million, probably 10 of that's English tax as well. But I mean, Drew, do you not think that Arsenal have made some great additions to their team? Tomiyasu as well, despite the injuries, he's been a very good signing. Adding to the players like Martinelli, Saka, they signed Odegaard, who's been a revelation there as well. I think they've done some great business to really, strengthen their squad for years to come.
Yeah, I think Arteta's done a hell of a job. I didn't think he could do it. I personally thought they made the wrong decision and didn't think he could handle the egos in the locker room. And he's doing what Man United should probably do and get rid of all the egos, all the people who are dragging the club down, created a toxic environment. And yeah, they've steadily gone about making the improvements necessary. They've really impressed me. I think where they fall short is they're not there yet. Like, they're a few signings away. Is Ben White, comparable to Van Dijk? And when you put those two in the same sentence, it's just laughable. But he's quality. He's better than a lot of other options in the league. I don't like him personally, but I can admire what he brings to the team. Same with Ramsdale, same thing. I think a really key point there is when we faced Arsenal, Ramsdale, the first time in the season when we beat them 4-0 at home, everybody was praising Ramsdale. I think he made the save against Leicester or somebody like that. Everybody was praising him as this world-class keeper. First half, he comes in and he makes great stops against Liverpool to the point where he's laughing on camera. He's like, "Oh, this is a great game." Next thing you know, Liverpool put 4 by him. It's like not laughing anymore. I think that's the step that they haven't made yet. Kind of reminds me of how Liverpool built together their squad with Klopp over a few years, except they progressed to the point where they were reaching a Champions League final. They lost to Madrid, but it was kind of that point of like, shock. They shouldn't have lost the way they did, but they did, but they reached it there. So next season, when it came along, when we made it to the final, I think everybody was confident that we could beat Tottenham. It was like, yeah, we've done it. We've been here before. Now let's get it over the line. I don't think Arsenal have even brought it to the point where they're approaching that final yet. Every time they've gotten close, like I've said, that every time they played a big team in the league, City or Liverpool, they've gotten smashed. So I think they're on the right trajectory, and Arteta has done a hell of a job. But I think it's going to take at least another season for them to really cement themselves into the top 4. They really need to grab this run while it's available this season and build from there. But they're not at the level of challenging the likes of City or Liverpool.
I mean, Kris, I'll ask this one to you. What are Arsenal's main threat going to be towards Liverpool? That sort of midfield, and wingers are very much the focal point of theirs. Odegaard, Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right, and you've got Smith Rowe to bring on. but we've seen how good Liverpool's defence has been in the past, few weeks. I think, if memory serves me correct, we haven't conceded a goal in the first half for 13 or 14 games, something ridiculous like that, and we've only conceded 2 goals in, I think, 8 games as well. So where can Arsenal genuinely hurt this Liverpool side?
Within context, it's always really important to realise that what we're witnessing right now with Liverpool is absolute greatness. So saying where can Arsenal hit Liverpool, it's a little bit like saying if I flip a coin 100 times, right? It's 50-50. But that's not what we're talking about with Liverpool and Arsenal. Arsenal are probably going to lose. But where they can do real damage is in the inside channels, basically in the channel between Fabinho, which is the spaces where De Bruyne operates, and where, for example, over the other side, Gundogan sometimes operates. That's where they can do real damage. But what I imagine them doing is keeping the wingers high and wide. And what this is going to do is make a huge problem for Robertson or Trent, because it means that one of them has to stay back. Luckily, we've been playing with something of a back three hybrid of late. So it's not too bad. But they can spring us once or twice, and they do have the pace to get in behind with Saka and Martinelli, who are quite dangerous on the day. I don't see Xhaka controlling the midfield. Odegaard, he's a very good player, but I've seen him bullied once or twice. Party, very expensive. He looks on par with Ndidi, which says a lot about the Spanish league, to be honest. Yes, I am throwing shade, but at the end of the day, I think that we're going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be much of a threat there, especially when at the moment we've got a guy who's played 3 games and he looks like the informed player in the league in Diaz, which is mad to say, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it onto that before we sort of wrap this stream up and go on to predictions. I mean, with Salah, he's obviously picked up a knock against Brighton. However, Klopp did confirm today that, he's back in training tomorrow, likely to play some part, maybe not starting. But, Jay, if Salah is injured, who's your front three? We've got Jota, loves a goal against Arsenal. I think he's got 5-5 or 6-5, something ridiculous against Arsenal. Roberto Firmino, loves a goal against the Gunners. He's some of the goals he scored over the years against them have been ridiculous. So, and as Kris has just said, we've probably got the most informed player in the league in Luis Diaz, who looks electrifying every single time he comes on. But then on the other hand, you've got Manny, who in his new, forward role looks revitalized. So what would your front three be going into this game?
It was Diaz, it's definitely starting. Benetton odds wonks, I'd normally say Mane and Jota, but for the type of game it is, I actually think it suits Firmino in the false 9 more, because he's more, I'm going to say he's more physical, but it's not as if Mane's not physical on the ball. I just think with Firmino in the 9, we could bully their midfield more. It's like Kris said before, Odegaard's very lightweight, and there's only really Party who's the physical midfielder and Xhaka, but you can run rings around Xhaka and get him sent off probably. You don't even have to run rings around him, he'll get a yellow card himself, to be fair, causes his own problems. Diaz, Jota, and I'll say Mane just because he's in form. You don't drop a player who's scoring goals, do you? So, yeah, Mane, Diaz, Jota.
Drew, your front three?
Same. I wouldn't be displeased if Firmino started. I think Jay made good points there, but I choose Jota, Mane, and Diaz. I think they'll get the job done, and they all have the kind of strength, pace, and presence to cause the defense a lot of problems. And I think that's where Arsenal are frail, is if we can hit them on counters or turn the ball over quick in the midfield and then press them. As I said before, we did that at the Emirates in the second leg of the League Cup with, not all our starters in the lineup, and Jota tore them apart. Ben White and Aaron Ramsdale on that second goal made them both look fools. So I think all four of the guys we just mentioned are more than capable of doing the same. So, but Diaz, Jota, and Mane for me.
Yeah, Kris, you in agreement, or has Firmino got a place in your starting three?
Personally, I don't think I don't really like Jota on the right, and Sadio seems to be playing mainly through the middle these days. So that's a problem for me because I really don't like Jota on the right. So from that point of view, I think that maybe Jota, Sadio, and then Salah if possible. But to be honest, I couldn't answer it fully with my full commitment because I'd need to know how fit everybody. In an ideal world, it would be Salah. Salah for me in this game, it would be Salah, Firmino, and then Diaz. But that's an ideal world.
I think Salah will
Mane
be
could
fit. He
also-
trained today.
Did he? Then
Yeah.
that's what I'd go with. I'd go with Salah, Firmino, and Diaz because Diaz and Salah cutting in will cause absolute mayhem. And like you said, Jay, Firmino coming deep, he can nip it off Xhaka a few times, and Xhaka will just kick him like an absolute maniac.
Yeah. I just think
Guys,
his movement for that type of game is perfect for Firmino because he creates so much space for teams. And when you're a team who tries to play us at our own game, we tear your ass apart normally. And Firmino's perfect for that.
He'll come back, he'll nip it off Partey's feet, he'll create a 4 in midfield against their 3. Odegaard, like you said, he'll get pushed off the ball. And then Xhaka will remember, I don't know what Xhaka remembers. Is Xhaka remembering when his dad used to call him ugly when he was a kid? He'll kick somebody, we'll hit them behind, and then that'll be fine.
UFC.
Was Xhaka the one who booted Jota in the chest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. So,
It's mad.
yeah, hopefully, saying
Where's
that,
he from, Xhaka?
Switzerland.
Welterweight
Switzerland.
UFC.
He's got a Swiss nationality.
Serbian
but it's
descent.
still-
Albanian.
Serbian, yeah.
No,
I think
Albanian.
Albanian or
It's
Serbian.
Albania, him
It's
and
Albania,
Shaqiri,
yeah.
because he
Because
done that signal, didn't he? When and it caused loads of controversy.
Albanians are very nice people. However, they do have a reputation as being tough. So or mad, whatever one you want to put in there, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go with yours too, Kris. I like Firmino against Arsenal, and hopefully Xhaka doesn't get sent off because I think we struggle against 10 men for some absolute mad reason. If that's the case, I say just stick all 5 of them on and just try and get Thiago and Fabinho in midfield and just stick everyone up front. But yeah, so before going into the score predictions, if you are new, make sure you do leave a like on the video and subscribe. We have daily streams and we try and get daily videos out for you as well. But I'll go around all the guys, ask you your score predictions for tomorrow's game. So Jay, I'll start with you.
I'll go 2-1. I think we probably will concede tomorrow, to be honest. Just for the sheer amount of numbers Arsenal get forward, like Kris said before, they do play the same way as City, 5 at the top. So yeah, I do think Arsenal get a goal, but I fancy to do them. 2-1 Liverpool.
Drew?
I'm going to go 2-0. I think we're just in the habit of winning, and we'll get it done.
Kris?
4-1. 4-1. I think to be honest, they're in a really good place and they're going to be comfortable. And I don't think you can really be comfortable against Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-0. I think Luis Diaz against, Cedric or a rush back Tomiyasu is going to be absolute mayhem for them.
As soon as you said it, I went,
I saw your face. I was thinking the same. Staying at home. I'm staying at home. I've got the flu.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what happens, even if they push Xhaka, I know we can play right back. They don't have a right back at the moment that I think can contain Luis Diaz with the confidence that he's playing. He's getting loved by the fans. For some reason, Harvey Elliott's his best mate at Liverpool. So I know, Matty. But yeah, so I think the confidence he's playing at, it's crazy, and I don't think they're going to be able to handle it. But yeah, so got a few ones in here. So yeah, just win. That's That's all we want, really. No one really cares about the scores, but we've got to do it. Matthias is going with 3-1. So yeah, hopefully we win again. If you're new, subscribe, leave a like. Go and check out all the guys on Twitter. All of their tags are here, including mine. And again, if you want to shave your head or your balls or your beard, go to Manscaped, get 20% off with our code TR Tango Romeo 2020. So yeah, thanks lads for joining me. Thank you everybody for joining in the comments today, and hopefully we'll have 3 points by tomorrow. Yeah, up the Reds.
Up the Reds.